can always tell when a streak's going to come to an end.
That could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Reb Media in partnership with TSN, Season 7 of the Brain Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. The Tim's NHL Hockey Challenge is back. It's in the Tim Hortons app. You have a chance to win daily and monthly prizes for picking players who you think will score. Plus, there's a chance to win a new Hyundai Tucson as part of our season-end grand prize. Canadians, you can also try and keep a 7-day streak alive, win a free coffee or tea for a week. Check it out, timhortons.ca, for a full list of prizes. I know what you were doing, Ray, as you join us. For those who watch us on the YouTube channel, on Sunday, you were glued to the couch watching the final round of the Masters. And it did not disappoint, did it? I mean, there was intrigue, there was drama, there was all kinds of stuff invited in by somewhat sloppy third round by McIlroy. But man, the way that it finished with the ups and the downs, and there's Scotty Scheffler in the hunt. Cam Young, can you push a little harder? Rory's batting it into the trees. It was fabulous TV. It really was, wasn't it?
It's so good. I mean, it's such a great tournament, and so I flew home from Denver. I could only make it halfway, so I went from Boston to Denver on Saturday, stayed overnight, and then got the early flight home. Took Reese, our 16-year-old, he's got the golf bug. He went and we got him some new irons because he's grown through the ones he had, so he's all pumped to play. And then we had one other thing to do, and we're like, oh, look at the leaderboard. We're like, we got to get back. So we got back basically for the last 9 holes, did not move for the rest of the afternoon. And it is amazing in that tournament. Well, I guess any of the majors, but you can almost feel the pressure as you're watching it. And when I laughed when they're like, when McIlroy hit that one in the woods on 18, and he's now got to hit that shot over the tree. And the announcer goes, yeah, it's got to go over the tree and the scoreboard. And I'm like, that is a great example for 99% of us that play, that while that is golf, they're playing on TV, and we play golf, it's a different sport. Like, when you saw where he was, I was saying to Cammie and Reese, I go, okay, see that little gap on the left? I would have to hit it out on the ground over there. There's no chance I could have hit it over that tree.
No.
Like, no chance. And those people, one of them would have died. I would have taken somebody's forehead off there. And so, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, he's just going to hit it in up there, and it goes in the bunker. He goes up, and I just love it. I just love the way they can do things out there. It's so cool. And didn't it look freaking beautiful? Like,
so nice.
I've never been, our stats guy for our NHL hockey on ESPN did some work there Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, nice.
And he's got a picture, and he's sitting at the desk, where they do the updates. And I said to him, I go, is that a green screen behind you? And for those that don't know, green screens, like, they put video up there that looks real, but it's not. And he's like, no, that's the course. It looked like a green screen. It was just not a blade of grass. One day I got to get there. I just would love to get there.
And now, Rory goes into that elite grouping, right, of Tiger and Faldo and Nicklaus in winning back-to-back. And, some kind of chirped him for how he prepared. Like, he openly talked all week about the time that he spent around Augusta National for the last 2-3 weeks. Well, guess what everybody else is doing next year? Probably.
Did you hear the story? He said, so what he was doing was, now, as we know, those guys live on a different planet financially from everybody else. But so he would drop his daughter off at school, go to the airport, take a private plane to Augusta, play a round of golf, and be home for dinner. I can barely do
I
that
mean,
in
why wouldn't you?
Vancouver, but I can barely do that in Vancouver. I can barely get Reese to school, play, and then pick him up in time. Like I was like, oh, that's a pretty good day. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why he's such a polarizing guy in some cases. I really like him. I really like cheering for him. I was conflicted when Justin Rose was at the top because I love Justin Rose. I think he is
So good.
classy and I was like, I didn't want them to get into,
No.
some kind of playoff because it would have been tough to cheer, but I'm happy McElroy won.
All right, let's get back to the National Hockey League again. Plenty
Oh,
to
okay.
talk about in our Canadian Brewhouse headlines. Hey, real fans know the move. You arrive early. That's what you do. Happy hour at the Canadian Brewhouse runs Monday to Saturday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Skip the couch, hit the Canadian Brewhouse. Your home for every puck drop, every goal, every cheer. Ice cold drinks, massive screens, best fans in town all hockey season long. Their house is your arena. Okay, Penguins and Capitals Sunday in Washington. 3-0 win for the Caps, who are still remarkably in the playoff hunt. 1 point back of the Philadelphia Flyers for third in the Metropolitan.
You know what Brandon Duhaime calls the Caps?
What's that?
He coined this about 3 weeks ago. He calls them the Cockroach Caps. He's like
They
you
won't
can't
die.
He said we just will not die. And I keep all my game sheets like for that season.
Yeah.
And when a team gets eliminated, those sheets go in the shredder. They're done.
Yeah.
And so I've had the Caps on the dead pile for a couple of times, and then I keep taking them off because I'm like, well, they're still there again. And
Yeah.
there they sit. And it doesn't seem likely, but I guess stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah. Last episode, we talked about the believe around the Ottawa Senators. And Spencer Carberry, the coach for the Capitals, kind of summarized the same thing. They've been dead men walking for a good stretch here, but there's no quit, right? They don't know that. They're playing because, hey, as long as there's hope, we're going to keep playing as hard as we possibly can, right? I mean, that's ultimately what boils down to being a professional athlete, or it should.
Yeah, and what I like in Washington, they've been able to do this thing, and I think Pittsburgh's doing the same thing. They've been blessed with literally a generational star, and I
Yeah.
know that term gets way overused. It's way, way overused. So while Crosby is, on the back 6 holes of his career, the Penguins collected all these draft picks and young guys, and they look like they're going to be able to transition from this group to another group and not lose much momentum. The
Yeah.
Caps have done the same thing. Like as Ovi's, he's 40 years old. He's not he can't do what he used to do. But in this little last run, they've got Cole Hudson and they called up Ilya Protas, who I thought, I don't know if you saw his first goal, and they jammed
Yeah.
him with the pie, and him and his brother sitting on the bench, these two mountains of humanity. But I'm like, there's Cole Hudson. He's, just starting. Protas is just starting. They've got 3 or 4 other prospects that they're just ready to go. And I'm like, it looks like Washington's doing the same thing. That's really, really fortunate to have the great players, but also well timed out that they've moved in. Like even Washington traded John Carlson and
Yeah.
Nick Dowd at the deadline. That should have killed them, and they got picks back, and it didn't kill them. And
No.
so that's Chris Patrick and it's Brian McClellan in Washington, and they've in the management, and they've really straddled that really, really well.
Of course, the theater around Sunday's game between Pittsburgh and Washington is the reality that it could be the last game that Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby play against each other. During the pregame warmups, Ovi was taking pictures, right, with Sid, Malkin, Letang, and then also cool, but maybe telling. I mean, we don't know what Ovechkin is ultimately going to decide, Maybe some do. Maybe some do. Dylan Strome goes to line up against Crosby for the opening faceoff, and the fix is in with referee Chris Rooney, who gets Strome tossed, and Ovechkin goes to one more time go head to head. And he joked about it after the game. I'm not a centerman, but I kind of, and at the end of the game, the Penguins are trying to line up to shake hands, and he's like, no, like he's focused on, nailing down a playoff spot. But I mean, is it fair to read into all the signs that are telling us that it's likely that he's done, or do we just need to give him the benefit of the doubt, let them get through this playoff push, and then whatever he decides, we'll accept, and everybody moves on?
I don't see him playing again. Like everything kind of seems like it's moving that way. I guess that sometimes things are so obvious that you don't want to believe it. And it feels obvious to me that he's going to retire. Couple little things from yesterday I saw that I really thought was cool. All the guys and girls that go out and shovel the snow, they all had yellow laces yesterday.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know, I just think that's really kind of like fun and cool stuff. I did laugh as well though. So Sid and Ovi go take the draw, and Sid snapped that draw back. He didn't even give Ovi a chance. That thing was a rocket back to his defense. I'm like, Jesus, he's so competitive. He probably didn't even, in that moment, he's like, oh, this is really cool. Bang, and I win the draw. And it's like, so I will say that two things. First of all, ESPN put out a piece on Ovi. They brought in 8 people that Ovi has helped over the years, or 8 organizations. Did you see it, Dregs?
No, I didn't see that.
Watch it, you'll cry. It's unbelievable. And one of them, there's a couple little at the time, little kids that, and Ovi, they bring the kid out who's now older, of course, and he says, Alex, we met here, and he goes, yeah, we went for sushi. Like he knows right away who the kid is. And you can see like Ovi's like really emotional when he's talking to these people. And I don't think we see that side of him. Again, we talked a few weeks ago about hockey culture and stuff, and this is some of the greatest part of it. Like when you see this piece, you'll go, that's it. The other thing is when people are now talking about him and they're kind of pulling the curtain back about what Ovi's like, they speak of him like this larger than life character, like in everything that he does. Spencer Carberry's told us, he's like, you ask him about Ovechkin and he literally chuckles right away. He goes, oh, there's nothing like it. Like you can't see, like you can't believe it. Dylan Strome said his first camp there, he walked in and he could hear these whispers because he's brand new. And they're like, yeah, I think he's coming tomorrow. I think he's coming tomorrow. And he's like, who are they? He didn't know what they were talking about. And then the next day, it's like a cartoon. The doors burst open and here comes Ovi and he's hugging guys. And he's like, he just like nobody he's ever been around. I love hearing about this stuff that we don't see.
Yeah. Well, and so many NHL players are like this, and we don't always get a look at what's going on behind the scenes. But did you see the video of Ovechkin having Malkin and many of the Russian Protas brothers were there to his home?
When they were playing floor hockey?
They're playing mini sticks or whatever with the kids.
How about they're running in and out of the dining room? Cammy goes, wow, it's a pretty nice floor for stick hockey there, isn't it? And it's like they're running in the dining room, and then Malkin was pissed off because they only had 2 players on their team. And I loved it. You know what? I guess we all know that everybody's got another life past what we see on camera. But when you get a glimpse of it, it's like, it really is. I don't know why. I don't know why it's more interesting than it would be. It's just like you played mini sticks. I played mini sticks. Watching these guys, like it's really cool watching them. I thought it was awesome.
I wanted to see the drywall after the because one of those Protas brothers is like knocking Gino into the wall, or Ovi is running one of the kids. Like stuff is happening.
Dregs, you must have had some mishaps with Mason shooting pucks around the house, right?
A couple, yeah. There was one or two, yeah.
So we, I get to Atlanta, we buy this house, the basement's unfinished. And so we finish the basement off. It's really nice, but there's a really good area in it and for playing mini hockey. And Matt
Yeah.
and Landon were like, I guess they were like 11 and 8 at that time. And so I go downstairs like a week later, and there is a perfect frame of Landon's body in the drywall. So I guess they
That's
were playing,
awesome.
and Matt freaking drilled him into the drywall, and he went right between the beams, and he was little, so he went right through. And we left that there. We didn't fix it. We're like,
No.
what's the point now? But it was they couldn't even make up a story of what happened. It was the perfect framing of him right in the wall. It's so good.
All right, back to the playoffs.
Yep.
The Ottawa Senators locked down a spot. Don't know exactly which spot yet.
Yep.
They erased 2-goal deficit with a 3-goal second period versus New Jersey, but they lose to the Devils in overtime and drop into the second wild card spot. They can still overtake the Bruins with 1 game remaining. I mean, I guess it matters, right? Like, I mean, winning that final game matters in the bigger picture,
Yep.
postseason picture. Maybe not. I guess it just depends on what your thought process is at this stage.
Yeah. Ottawa would be a team that would make me a little uncomfortable right now to play. Ullmark's last 5 starts have been lights out. He's under 2 goals against, per game. He's like at a 940 save percentage. It feels like he's got his feet back on the ground. They're a really good checking team. They're a bit of a pain in the ass to play.
Yeah.
I would really want to avoid Carolina in the first round. It
Agreed.
feels like they come out with so much energy in a playoff series early, and that first round's always a little bit unpredictable. I think Boston and Carolina would probably like to avoid. I mean, it's not a catastrophe, but it would be nice, I think, not to get Carolina first.
Right.
And
Right.
and I guess, and at this point, I firmly believe this. If you're trying to pick your opponent, you're going to get kicked right in the ass. It's not going to work well for you. Just play your way in, get your opponent, and get to work. But Ottawa is, they were 10 points back January 30th.
Yeah.
And they also, don't forget, they went into Detroit and won a game with 5 defensemen out.
Like, it was like bananas.
They totally, Travis Green does, honestly, I know him quite well. I think he does a tremendous job, and he's matured as a coach. He'd be the first to tell you so much.
Yeah.
And they've done a really good job, and congrats to them getting into the playoffs. That was a hard road.
How can, describe in layman's terms how they play? Because it's difficult to explain, defensively structured and strong, no doubt about that. But there's an aggressiveness to that structure and that defensive commitment, right?
There is. They can skate. That, I think, is really critical to being an aggressive defensive team. Their D, they get up. So when the other team, I'd say I'd describe it like this: they try to forecheck really aggressively, but they're not stupid about it. Like, they do not get trapped. They do not give up a bunch of man advantage breaks. If there's a 50-50 puck or a near 50-50 puck, their D are up so tight on the forwards, there's nowhere for the other guys to go. Even if they win that puck, there's still nowhere to go. So their aggressiveness and the way they check, I would call it, they check forward. They don't defend. They check forward. Right. And that's where they get a lot of their offense from.
Let's shift over to the West. The LA Kings certainly waited until the last second to get going, but they're going. They've won 4 straight, sit a point ahead of Nashville as we record this episode in the wild card in the West with a game in hand. They're also 3 points back at Anaheim in the Pacific Division. That division is just
Okay, but
it's a
so
tough one to
Anaheim
figure out.
dregs, right? You're looking at the standings there. I
Yeah.
think Anaheim can still win the division,
Yeah.
but they could miss.
Yes. It's crazy.
Like that's, I guess when nobody gets 100 points, that's probably what's going to happen.
So what are we seeing from LA?
LA should, if they don't make it, they have to look at them only at themselves. They're in Seattle tonight. They're in Vancouver tomorrow. They're in Calgary. I mean, you can't ask for 3 more winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Seattle was not that far out of the playoffs, right? But they missed. Vancouver's on the bottom. Calgary's going to be in the bottom 5. Like it's hard to win 3 games in a row on the road, but man, it's sitting on the platter there for LA.
No doubt. Did you watch the Saturday game, or were you traveling or working? The Oilers and the Kings?
I did not. I was in the air.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously Edmonton is somewhat depleted, but it's just a dose of good old fashioned hockey. So LA wins. It's a must win. They win 1-0. First period, I think Drew Doughty cross-checked Connor McDavid at least 3 times in front of the net, at least 3 times before McDavid turns and it's like, okay, I've had enough of this, right?
Right.
But I'm watching that. They both get roughing penalties and whatnot. But I'm instantly what comes into my head is I'm not sure how many superstars across the National Hockey League are going to respond the way that Connor did. That's not his game. He doesn't do it often. We've seen him snap 3 or 4 times at least, I would say, in the last, 10, 15 games. But, I mean, when you were playing, that happened all the time. That was common ground where the defense would beat the living piss out of you in front of the net. And sometimes you'd snap the way Connor, but we almost never see those net front battles to that degree anymore, right?
No, because usually the penalty's called before it gets to that level. Like the defenseman gets a penalty. I will debate anyone that wants to about the tough area in front of the net in 2026 as opposed to 1989.
No.
That is a country club compared to what they would give the I'm not even kidding here. I know our stories get exaggerated as we get older. They would give the defenseman almost to the point of it was like a comedy. They would give them so much leeway, and then the ref would yell from the corner, "That's enough." And you're like, "That's enough." It was a penalty 4 cross checks ago. I've told this story because it's one of my favorites, because it's not a super tough guy. It was Larry Murphy.
Yeah.
And I'm in front of the net, and Murph had my sweater in his right hand, and it was clinched, and I couldn't move. He had me like locked in there. So I'm yelling, "That's holding," and the ref doesn't even look at us. So Murph lets go, and he goes, "Yeah, this is cross-checking." Boom. And then he goes, "And this is slashing." Boom. And he gave me one of those. Murph was saying that. And there were no penalties. And then I was like, what just happened here? Like he committed 3 penalties in 6 seconds. Not a chance any of them were going to be called. And that was Murphy. If you went in there with the Hatchers or Scott Stevens or Ken Danico, and you went in front of the net, Chris Pronger, like, are you kidding me? It was like a wood chopper's ball in there. And he was 6'6". Like, those guys were, you know who? Okay, here's a guy that doesn't. Al McGinnis was vicious in front of the net. Oh yeah. And like what like you'd stand there and whack. He was really good at it, like on your ankles and stuff. And then he'd turn. Al's big. Like you might not think of that, but those guys. Here's another one. Tragic story, of course, is Vladimir Konstantinov. You go in front of the net there, and I mean, short of giving him a knife, I was like, His stick was like a freaking machete. He was brutal. And the coaches would be like, "You got to get in there." I'm like, 5'9", got to go in there again,
Get in
because
there.
I couldn't shoot it from anywhere else. You had to. So what McDavid and Doughty were doing was so commonplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's this time of year.
Yeah.
It's now everything goes to the next level. And
Yeah.
it's why we love the playoffs and why we love that first round. It's just it goes to it's old Spinal Tap. It goes to 11 right away. It's so good.
You're telling those stories, and I'm thinking of Craig Simpson and the conversations we had about, him in front of the net with Brad McCrimmon. You're just, flak jackets. All of that stuff doesn't even come close to protecting you to the degree you needed the protection.
It's funny you mentioned Brad McCrimmon, because Brad used to wear his helmet really low. He had one of those Coopers.
Yeah.
Or a Winwell. They were kind of the same, but he wore it like right over his eyebrows. And so he'd be giving it to you and you'd turn around and he'd just stare at you. And maybe some guys would go back at him. I'd look and just turn and
I don't
skate
want
away.
any part of that.
What am I going to do with that? He's a chunk of concrete. And you're like, I got to get out of there. So
I'm so looking forward to the start of the playoffs. It's been a wild and a wacky year, literally from game one. It'll be that way. It's just been a wild year. And I don't know that it's been like, exciting at times for sure. Thought it would settle down at times. Yes, absolutely. But I don't know. Maybe it's not an anomaly. Maybe this is what we're going to see moving forward from regular season hockey. It's impossible to predict, but all these tight races, wire to wire.
I do think there is the possibility with the expansion of the salary cap, that some teams will spend up there and a lot will not. And so I actually think there's a chance for closer to I'll call it like a super team. I think we have a chance in the next 5 years to see one of those, because it'll be one of those teams that purchases up a bunch of star
but a destination
power.
of choice, right? Like a place where these players are willing to take a little bit less, still get paid.
But they're not going to. That's the thing. They're not going to have to take less,
right?
Because the cap is going to move to a place that some teams aren't. When the cap goes to $130 million, there will be some teams, and it's totally their right to go, yeah, I'm not spending that.
No,
and they're still going to be. They're going to spend $100 million. And they're going to be 30 million behind. And that's where I think is the potential for the standings to become unbunched.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and we've talked about it on the pod before, but there are owners who are worried about that, because the picture you're painting is one of haves versus have-nots. Now, you're making that decision financially not to spend up to the cap. That's, your ownership is establishing. Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. All right, Ray, those are your headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brew House.
It feels like Tim Hortons has always been part of my routine, certainly as a dad, as a coach, or taking my kids to the early morning hockeys. Had to go through the drive-thru and get my cup of coffee and get the Timbits for the kids. Can I get a medium coffee with milk, please? Then even driving into studio now at TSN. If I don't go through the drive-thru, get my medium coffee with milk, I feel like my routine has been interrupted.
Here's your coffee.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Only way to start a day.
We've got Ask Ray and Riggs Anything lined up for Thursday, and it could be an interesting one, a juicy one as we brace for the playoffs. You can send us your thoughts and questions on X, DM us there, or visit rayandregs.com to submit your question. Not going to lie, I was nervous, concerned, all of the above, going into Thursday's late night hockey. And it's all part of the Tim's Hockey Challenge as we bring in Chris Sabunia, because you had a big week last week, right? Big week last week.
That was critical to get into the game. And just like Justin Rose on 12 and 13 and 14, I feel it slipping away.
Oh,
It
What
was
do the
so
numbers
close,
tell us?
especially when I was thinking about you talking about the Sens being 10 points out in late January. We've identified, Ray was about 8 or 9. I think that was the farthest you had slipped, and that was late January as well. And he got within 2. Hey, we got 2 games, 2 days of action here remaining, but Ray's 3 back. So Dreg's got 1. Dreg's moved 1 back up this week. Dreg's got 1 to be at 41 for out of 126. Ray came up with a donut, and that's he's still at 38. 38.
But
so
that
3
Zuby,
back.
that kills it. That kills it. It's over.
I don't know. No,
There's only 1 to go.
No, we got
2.
2. We
Well,
got 2.
tonight and Thursday. Thursday will count.
Yes. I'm not quite yet at bringing up my AHL guys, but I'm soon. You know.
Good luck
we
picking
get some-
today's, by the way. The buckets are a challenge today.
They were today. I'm sure you guys do this when you put your picks in and you go, ugh,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I like
Every
those
time.
3. Yeah.
I let my kids help me, because I play it every day. So I let my kids help me yesterday. And so when my son went with Zach Whitecloud in the 3rd bucket, I said, well, that's okay. We'll see. That's doesn't look super promising. But so I was hoping it would just for them. It would have been so exciting for them if Zach Whitecloud or Marco Rossi would have come through yesterday. But unfortunately, neither of them did. But I may have them
Rossi
continue.
scored.
Did
Rossi
he?
scored.
Get out of town.
scored
I
with-
must have
he
not
sc-
seen the end of it. All right. My
Yeah, he
daughter
scored with
picked that one.
6. I'll tell her she's right. 6 or
All
7
right.
seconds left in overtime.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
She scored. Yeah.
That's excellent. She'll be very excited because she is a Canucks fan. So that's good.
Well, tell her
I gotta
Curtis Douglas scored too, his first goal. Which
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I love when the big boys score. Everybody's so excited for them. It's so great.
Well, I think she's definitely earned picking out of my 2nd bucket again today. Then, if she came
Yeah.
through,
Oh,
with
for
Rossi,
sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Stay with a hot
So-
pick in hand.
So there you go. But last Tuesday, Ray, you picked up. You went 2 for 3, and Dregs had a
I
donut.
need one.
So
Yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah.
You just need 2 more. Of
It
those.
is possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Zuby. Thanks,
All right,
buddy.
fellas. Yeah, thank
Here's
you.
Chris Zabunia bringing us up to speed on the Tim's Hockey Challenge. Ray, before we wrap up this edition of the Rain Rigs podcast, a shout out to our pal Scott Oake, who
Oh yeah.
announced his retirement, did his final after hours on the weekend. Just a staple of professionalism, and has been from day one of his career. And I acknowledged on X, I had the privilege of working alongside and around Scott Oake in my early days, way back in the 90s, early 90s in Winnipeg. Just a classy man. And what always impressed me most was how the players, the coaches, management, fans, everybody around the game just gravitated towards Scott Oake, right? And it's not like he's not a cheerleader. He's a legit journalist, asked tough questions, but also had a way of asking a tough question. You know, there's humility
Yeah.
in his approach, and there's an appreciation in how he did his craft and all of these things. So I know he's going to continue to work with Hockey Night in Canada through the postseason, but just a tip of the cap to literally one of the greats in our country in the world of broadcasting.
You used humility, which was the word I would always describe Scott Oake with. A biting, sarcastic sense of humor, which to me, when I got to be around him, I just love to no end. He is so funny.
Yes.
Yet he's never wants to be the center of attention. Like, this must really bother him. Everybody congratulating him, and I send him a note, and I love the notes I get back because they're short and to the point and funny. And I really like. I will say this, and I say this, like, there's the broadcasters, the Foster Hewitt Award is it for the Hall of Fame, and it's for play-by-play and analysts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about how it could change or should change or who it should include. The fact that Scott Oake would not be eligible to me
Wrong.
is a travesty. The
Yeah.
fact that Dave Hodge is not in. Now, people today would not
Wrong.
know who Dave Hodge is because his day of prominence was some time ago. He absolutely should be recognized in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Don Cherry should be recognized in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
Barry Melrose was the one voice in the United States of hockey for years when it was a lot quieter. Barry should be in the Hall of Fame. These guys I mentioned, it should be no-brainers. And to those that are in charge, let's do it while, like, Don's not getting any younger. Dave's not getting any younger. Barry's battling Parkinson's. Like, come on, man. The right thing to do is to open this parameter up to include the great voices of the game that are not eligible right now.
Great. Well said. What's your week like? Any regular season hockey left, or is that behind you now?
Actually, I got one game tomorrow. I got the Canucks tomorrow, LA. I'm actually really looking forward to it because I want to congratulate Anze Kopitar, one of my favorite players and favorite people in the game. I want to go down and see him before the game just to pass along best wishes and stuff. And it's 20 years. That's what a cornerstone of a franchise you hope will be. So I've got that game, and then we sit around and wait until we get our assignments for the first round. I'll open up Saturday somewhere, but we don't know any of those series, of course, until everything's solidified. But so I'll be home. Going to play 2 rounds of golf if the weather holds, and then it's playoff mode, bud. Get at it. How about you? A little preview stuff?
Yes, we do. We've got our playoff preview, I believe, is Friday. A couple of rounds of insider trading this week, Tuesday and Thursday. And then it gets a bit strange for our coverage in the playoffs because we're committed to a series or 2. And obviously, TSN is Canadian based. So it'll probably be Montreal and Ottawa.
Will you get to go there? Will you get to go for the first game Saturday?
No. It's all in studio pre and post, and then the hot zone. Hot zone's right. You know what a hot zone is? We do it on Sports.
I know what a hot pocket is. You put it in the microwave.
Yeah. It's very similar. Yeah. No. It's post game coverage where James Duthie in the panel. There we are, and they're throwing to us, and we're doing analysis, and we're throwing coaches interviews and sound bites from the players post game. That's hot zone. That's what we do.
Okay. By the way, congrats to James on another Masters coverage. Now, it's Monday, so he can exhale because he squeezes himself into those boys' medium T-shirts.
I mean,
golf shirts anyways. Man. Seriously, act your.
I went for lunch with my buddies yesterday, and we're watching the front 9 on this massive screen. Covers the whole wall of the restaurant, right? A sports bar. And there's Duthie leaning, and it's like he's poised for an arm wrestling match. He's the full bicep flex and the small shirt. They're like, what is he doing? He has to know he's doing this on purpose.
Of course he is. Jeff O'Neill says on his account, he says, you want biceps like that, get to the gym, people. And I wrote back, you better introduce Duthie to a squat rack. He's got legs a chicken would be proud of.
I saw that. That's awesome. All right, buddy, we'll have a good week.
You too. Have a good week. Everyone, thanks for listening. We'll get close to the final pairings for the playoffs on Thursday.
We will, and we'll begin our process of previewing those postseason wild setup series in the next edition of the Ray and Dregs podcast. Until then, stay safe, everybody.